Hello? Yes, this is Woody Klose.
And Virginia?
And we're talking to you, transcribing, chatting, relaxing over a cup of very elegant coffee indeed, directly from the kitchen of our home, Echo Valley Farm at Red Hook in Dutchess County, New York. And I say elegant coffee.
Oh, Woody, don't. You'll break the sauce.
No, I won't.
You will.
I say elegant coffee on account of today. Old man Klose has made it. And you must admit, Virginia, this is probably the best coffee we've had in this house for the last 3 months. You don't believe me, huh?
I'm not going to say one word. Yes, I believe you. You know what color the coffee is?
I
You know what color it is?
I know what color my coffee is. It's coffee colored. Mocha.
Yes, it's not coffee colored at all. It looks to me like beige. That nice ick color between brown and nothing.
That's because you put too much cream in yours.
I
dear.
didn't. You did. And you know what? Somebody told me I said, you know what, too much. I can't help it. It's a mannerism of mine.
You know what, dear? What?
You know what? You put too much cream in my... You were being very sweet to me, and I'm very grateful. But the other night, when we were at a nice gathering in Red Hook, a little supper party,
Yes.
Saturday night.
Yes, here comes the needle.
No? But there was this buffet supper.
Yes.
So you went happily off and got some nice lady a plate of dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And the nice gentleman went off and got me a plate of dinner. And when he came back, I looked around the plate. It was all heavily laden with goodies. And I said, green onions. Well, I didn't get any. And he said, I met your husband at the table, at the buffet table. And he said, don't give my wife any green onions. What do you mean? I thought this was a free country, kid. I thought this was one of the last free countries on the face of the world.
Darling, don't you know that any housewife, any wife worthy of the name, is not free? She must bow to the dictates of her husband.
Yes, but the part that I loved, old boy, was to
No.
see your plate loaded with green onions. What do you think this is?
But I didn't eat them, dear.
What
Somebody
did
else
you
gave
have them for? A sort of a...
Just decoration,
dried
that's all.
arrangement like
Just
the garden
decoration. And, darling, I must congratulate you.
Why?
We have had one of our quiet weekends again. You are the greatest planner in the whole world.
It isn't
It's
my
an amazing thing. The roof started to leak last spring in the rain.
Well,
the
I
porch
can't
roof,
help
you know,
it.
right there alongside the living room.
Yeah.
And it came in through the living room. We had to get the paper on. We had to get it all brightened up. Nicely done. So, 3 months later, we got it done. We have the painter come in, the paper hanger, and when does he come?
Well,
he
when?
comes on Thursday, of course. But he can't do it all in one day. He has to come back on Friday. But he doesn't come on Friday, so he has to come back on Saturday. And does he come, I should say? He does.
Well, I'm just...
A whole household full of me, full of the kids, full of everybody, and the paper hanger with that thing, that long table right in the middle of the living room, all day long. Pots of glue, and, the one-armed paper hanger up and down the wall, painting the ceiling, putting the paper on, and everything going on in the house at the same time.
Well, will you please speak to the painter? I didn't know he was going to come. We've asked him and we've begged him for months to come and patch that ceiling in the bay window in the living room where the plaster's been hanging by a thread.
I know.
And where the wallpaper's all stained. And I said to him, we have an extra roll of paper that matches, and if you'll just come and repair that little thing. And he said he would. So he came on Thursday, and he looked all around, he tore everything up, and he said, I'll be back. So Friday, he came for about 15 minutes.
Darling, look, you can't
And
get out
I
of
said,
this.
well, listen, Friday he said, I have a sore tooth. I have to get my tooth pulled. And I thought that sounded kind
Don't
of
give
odd.
me all these excuses,
Well, that's
dear.
his excuse. So he went away after hanging one side of the little place he had to do. He went away and he got his tooth pulled. And the next morning was Saturday. And you was right there when the telephone rang, and you heard what he said. Because I made him say it
I have
over
nothing
again.
to do with any of that,
He
dear.
said his car broke down on Saturday.
All I know is
All
that
I
this
know.
inefficient operation keeps on going on in this house, Virginia.
Poo-poo.
It does, really.
Oh, you kill me. You're not as mad as you sound, are you,
I tell
honey?
you, no, I'm not. But one of the great things of the weekend, Virginia, is sitting down here in our own kitchen in the study and looking through, reading very carefully, thousands of letters from friends all over the country who have sent in requesting a photograph of ourselves and of the family because we are offering photographs in the hope that we will get enough mail to convince Mutual that we should stay on the air with our program and keep on chatting back and forth here as we have been doing for almost a year now. And I think it's a very gratifying thing, Virginia, to get a glimpse into the lives of other people, our friends on the air.
Oh, it's been a wonderful experience, Woody, for both of us, because you nice friends who've written us at the farm here, sent us penny postals, and sent us nice letters, have told us so much about yourselves that now when we sit down each day to chat over a cup of coffee or a glass of iced tea or whatever everybody prefers, we feel that we're going right into your home. We know that you have so many of the similar problems that we do, that you have so many of the hopes and dreams and the common experiences of our everyday American life, that we really feel that we know you now. We know every one of you because we've read every single card and letter we've got, and it has been a thrill. It's really something that I can't tell you how grateful we are to have, because every one of you has sent us such warm good wishes. You're all so generous with your nice good wishes and with your wonderful spirit of friendliness that we feel just as though we knew every single one of you. And I hope that you'll realize that we really mean this so sincerely. We have read everything that we've received, and I just can't say any more about it with you. I wish I could say how I feel, but I'm for
Yes,
once
I
I'm
know.
sort of tongue-tied.
I'm a little speechless myself, Virginia. It's such a gratifying thing, really, isn't it?
Oh, it's wonderful,
Of
Woody,
course
to
we
know
had-
that you have such fine friends, such
We-
loyal friends, such good friends.
We had one very interesting card. I don't know whether you saw it or not.
Yes, I did.
But somebody wrote and said, I said to my sister, Virginia and Woody are so down to earth, like us. And my sister said, like us? I'll bet. They're probably down to earth with a yard man, a cook, an upstairs maid, and a
boy.
nurse for the baby. And Virginia, our secret is finally out.
Isn't it so, dear?
It's really pretty
Do you think
dreadful.
we should tell our friend who wrote that letter what our terrible secret is?
Yes, I think we should. I think we ought to lay it right on the line. We can't be dishonest with anybody, Virginia. It's all got to be right there on the table. The name of our cook is,
Virginia Klose.
and the name of our upstairs maid is,
Virginia Klose.
Virginia Close.
Yeah, maybe we got to put a French accent on that upstairs Virginia Klose. That old
Yes.
thing that makes the bed.
And the name of our baby's nurse is...
Virginie Klose.
And the name of our yard man...
Oh, that's a guy.
I don't even know what a yard man is, Virginia.
I do. He's a man that goes out and leans against the pine tree and looks vague and chews a straw and then stands there and mows a little while. And then he leans against the picket fence and contemplates the broken hinges on the gate. And then he gets called to dinner 6 times and doesn't come. And you know what his name is?
Yes, his name is Woody Close, and you're giving me a very wrong picture of what Mr. Close does when he's out in the yard, leaning against the pine tree, chewing a straw,
I think
not
you're
coming
cute.
into dinner. You know, Virginia, that I work busily all hours of the day, all hours of the night. And I think you ought to give me a vote of confidence for having worked a little bit this weekend on the house and not so much in the garden.
That's really...
The garden is in very fine shape, by the way. My
Oh,
tomatoes
I-
are doing fine. I don't know about your tomatoes.
Well, I haven't got any. I have tomatoes. Another friend who wrote said, you know, she said, everything about you rings true, but that tomato sounds phony to me. That doesn't fit in with you. And it's sort of funny. I guess it doesn't. I'm a hail fellow, well-met Middle Westerner. I don't know. I just sort of grew up saying tomato, and I know why. I had a friend who said tomato so much, I just took it like protective coloration. I've never been able to say anything else. Do you
Would
think
you-
that's possible?
Well, it probably is. And would you mind letting me get a word in edgewise so I can
What?
brag a little bit about having fixed the cellar door over the weekend?
Oh, you're wonderful. Here, let me pat you over here, hon. Come
Yeah,
on over.
all
Lean
right.
over. Nice boy.
As a matter of fact, Virginia, I thought it was very good of me and very careful and very prudent on account of I saw Christy, who was 3 years old and just barely heavy enough to weight the cellar door down a little bit, sliding down it. I suddenly discovered that if he had been a pound heavier, the whole thing would have collapsed. He would have gone down the cellar steps, probably cut his head open or something.
Oh, I know. He would
I
have.
had to
He
take
could have.
time out from everything else I was doing in the garden, fussing around the house, and fix the cellar door. And it's a very good thing I did, too, because now it is sturdy and staunch, and anybody can walk on it.
Even me, dear?
I don't know
Oh,
about
with my
that.
diet, I think I could walk
I
on it.
don't know.
Boy, I certainly had to skid off my diet to eat some of that birthday cake. That was pretty good, if I do say so myself. That nice birthday cake.
That was a very wonderful cake, and I hope you'll give me the recipe someday, dear.
I will, dear. Oh, you know.
Solid chocolate, too, with those little white sugar letters on it. Happy birthday to Daddy.
Well,
I
do
don't-
you want to be happy birthday like that?
Yes,
Don't sneer.
I'm not sneering,
Don't
but where
sneer
were
at
the
the cake.
candles?
Well, that's a funny thing. Let's not go into
Yeah,
that.
what happened to the candles?
Well, it was the moment, everything went black. I went to get the candles, and here we are on a farm. That's part of farm life.
Mm-hmm.
You get yourself all fixed up, and you have the Friday order you think under control and eating out of your hand, and you get to your little farm home, and pretty soon you end up with just one missing link. It was pretty dismal, too, because Kevin, who we put off your birthday party, from Friday until Saturday. So Kevin, who's been ill ever since he started to have a fine theater career in life with Father, well, he was recovered enough Saturday to come downstairs and join us for our little birthday party at noontime. And so he was let down like anything when the candles didn't appear, and that was my fault. I had amnesia. I'm sorry as I can be, and I apologize. And maybe I should have another birthday cake for you next week when the boys get home. They missed your birthday party, too. Wouldn't that be fun?
The boys coming home. Isn't that
brother.
wonderful?
Can't wait, Woody. I'm so
I was
excited.
so glad, really, Virginia, when Cranberry called yesterday and said that he couldn't get any reservations on the train for Wednesday or Thursday of this week, and he'd have to send them home on Sunday night. They'd be here sometime on Monday. I was just so glad. They're going to be arriving down at Poughkeepsie in about a half an hour from now. We've got to leave right after the broadcast, Virginia, and get down there and see them. And I'm just dying to hear all of the things, all of the adventures they've had in the 4 weeks up there in Wisconsin with Cranberry.
It will be so exciting. You know, my father said when he called up, he said, you know, when the kids heard that you and Woody finally had managed to get a new car, they didn't want to stay in Chicago 15 seconds. They kept saying, what's the next train, Cranberry? When can we leave? And he said, when they get home, he said, I hate to tell you this, but I think I should prepare you. I think they're going to rush right by you and Woody and get right in that car, and they won't even say hello to you.
You know, the thing that bothers me a little bit, Virginia, is they've been up there for 4 weeks swimming in that great big wonderful bay, Green Bay, that lake. Now, when they come back home, they won't be able to dive as well. They won't be able to swim as well because as they get bigger and more experienced, the brook down here below the house gets that much smaller. It's going to look like a mud puddle to them. What do you think we ought to do?
Well, isn't there something about the little duck? It reminds me of the fable of the duck who only swam on a very small pond. Remember the story of the little duck swam on a very small pond? And he thought that was the world. And then he got dumped somewhere near an ocean, and he swam on that. And then when he went back to the little pond, he couldn't stand it anymore. Do you think that's going to happen to the boys?
Could well be.
They've had such an exciting time up there.
I know. And they've learned so much and had so many adventures. I'm just dying to see them, Virginia. But your story of the little duck reminds me of Christy and his little cat, Mr. Polly.
Oh, my.
Whom he's feeding beautifully every day when Laddie doesn't take the milk
terrible.
right out of his bowl.
That big old
But how that little kitten can last under the treatment that small boy gives him is beyond me. It's an amazing thing that little kids, boys and girls, I think, can take a kitten and tie it into knots for weeks on end, and the kitten still lives.
Shouldn't happen to a cat. I don't think, I don't think Christy knows. Naturally, he doesn't know that he just loves that cat, so he just squeezes it so hard. And I say, Christy, don't do that. But he and Kevin were sitting on the back stoop the other morning having a very philosophical conversation about the cat. And they were comparing the cat to Debbie because Debbie is teething and the little tiny kitten has teeth. And they couldn't figure this out because they figured that the kitten and Debbie would be practically on a level. So I heard Christopher say, and did it get its teeth after it was born? And Kevin said, I don't know. And he leaned in the screen door to me. I was washing the dishes. He said, Mommy, did this kitten come equipped with teeth?
Oh, no. That's wonderful.
Like it was a vacuum cleaner. Did it come equipped with teeth? I don't know. Do they have teeth when they're born?
I don't think quite, Virginia, but they come very quickly.
Well, you know, before we have to go away and say goodbye to our nice friends for today, I'd like to remind everyone who hasn't yet written in, wouldn't you like to send us a penny postal to the farm here, and we'll be so glad to send you our anniversary picture of the family, celebrating our first anniversary on the network. And I must say, and you too, Woody, that we are very anxious today because we're going to have our big decision sometime today whether or not we have received enough letters and cards from you nice friends to keep us on the network after the 4th of August when we celebrate our first year. And you can't imagine how we're just hoping and hoping that we'll have the privilege of coming into your homes every day after the 4th of August. And we just hope that you'll all send us a card today. It's not too late. Won't you please, anybody who hasn't done it?
And for now, goodbye, everybody. This is Woody Klose.
And Virginia.
We've been transcribing directly from Echo Valley Farm. Goodbye.
Goodbye.